Right, it's time to go beyond the Kop and look at 10 Liverpool players who deserved more of a chance. Now, context. This isn't me saying that all of these players were great and deserved to play every single minute of every single match, but perhaps with the benefit of hindsight, the people we can look back on and ask ourselves, yeah, what happened there? Number 10, Harry Wilson. Between 2014 and 2022, Harry Wilson was a registered player to Liverpool Football Club. That's 8 years. During those years, he made just 2 appearances for us, and I will now proceed to put up several pictures of footballers who represented the club during this time, but certainly deserved less than that. Okay, cool, because honestly, there was no reason why Harry Wilson in some way, shape or form couldn't have made his way into the Liverpool setup. Amazing spells at Hull City, Bournemouth, Derby County, which saw him score that amazing free kick at Old Trafford and then hold up the 5 fingers to United fans like the good little Welsh Scouser he was, and then further success at Cardiff and Fulham, who he helped win promotion into the Premier League with. You're telling me he couldn't have had the Xherdan Shaqiri, Divock Origi style role in the squad? I mean, he was too good for that and needed regular football, of course, but to say he couldn't have found a way into the squad as a whole is mental. Number 9, Tyler Morton. It's fairly recent, this one, so time will tell if this was the right decision or not, but as things stand, Tyler Morton is putting out brilliant numbers over in France for Lyon, ranking in the top 6% of midfielders in the league for through balls, crosses, shot creating actions, successful take-ons, and is putting out 1.9 progressive carries per 90 minutes, and of which are things that Liverpool have been struggling with this season, unless your name's Dominic Szoboszlai, who is the most beautiful man alive. Absolutely, Morton was never going to be a regular in the team, but he was able to play right back, as proven when we played Southampton last season and he stole the show, and Lord knows when we have to play Dom there, our midfield struggles, so having Morton as an option would have been perfect for us. And also, Slot trusts Endo on the pitch as much as I would trust Bonnie Blue of a newly turned 18-year-old, and with no Badgertich there, maybe we would have seen Morton thrive in the number 6 role. Just a thought. Number 8, Federico Chiesa. Now, this list was written a while ago. I'm sorry, and since then the performance levels of Federico Chiesa have certainly dropped ever so slightly. However, there can be no denying that since his arrival in the summer of 2024, Chiesa is someone who has been criminally underutilised at times and probably deserved more attention from his footballing dad. The late winners against Bournemouth, the contribution towards Engamo's goal against Newcastle, scoring in the Carabao Cup final, the way he stole the show against Southampton in the League Cup just this season. The man has talent and is someone who could go to a multitude of teams and make a sizable impact for said clubs. However, this season and last season even, the lad has been resigned to maybe, if he's lucky and the stars align, getting the final 5 minutes of matches to try and prove his worth. He'll probably leave this summer, and honestly, while he's probably never going to be top level now approaching the age of 30, it's still a shame to see. Number 7, Suso. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that Suso would have solved all our problems back in the mid-2010s. If anything, I think the way the club was at the time would have probably made him worse, but he was with the squad during the 2014-15 season and only had 1 appearance in the League Cup during that insane 2-2 draw against Middlesbrough in the League Cup. Now, my question to you is, which of these wide players for Liverpool justified starting over the man who would go on to record 58 goal contributions in 145 Serie A appearances for Milan? Fair enough, you had the likes of Coutinho and Sterling in the side, often playing out wide, but you're telling me that Suso, who was a very direct attacking wide player capable of dropping into the centre of the pitch, couldn't have done more than the likes of Fabio Borini and Lazar Markovic when coming off the bench, or even starting? Markovic started 11 Premier League matches that season, but it might as well have been 0, while Suso would go on to win the 2016 Supercoppa and 2 Europa Leagues. Number 6, Momo Sissoko. I mean, of the players mentioned in this list, at least Momo got some game time. In fact, just in the 2005-06 season alone, he made more appearances than the previous 4 entries combined ever did. But my God, did he deserve better than 2.5 seasons with us? To this day, it remains one of the most baffling decisions made by Benitez to get rid of someone with the physicality and technical ability that Momo possessed, with the Spaniard viewing him as surplus to requirements following the arrival of Javier Mascherano in February of 2007, which I kind of understand, given the fact that the other 2 midfielders in the middle of the pitch were Gerrard and Alonso, but behind Mascherano in that defensive role of midfield was Lucas Leiva, who at the time was still being deployed further up the pitch at this point, and Yossi Benayoun, who was in and out of the team more than people on a bang bus, so Momo definitely could have competed for a spot in the squad if he was happy to stay and offer some stability and defensive acumen to the ranks. Number 5, Mikel San Jose. But Lewis, I can hear you saying, I'm under the age of 18, who the is Mikel San Jose? Well, let me tell you, I'm pushing 30, and honestly, I forgot he even existed. But yes, the man who would go on to make 397 appearances for Athletic Bilbao, scoring 37 goals, was a member of the Liverpool youth setup in 2007, even winning the 07-08 Premier League Reserve League title with the reserves before being sold to the previously mentioned Bilbao in 2010, with the closest he came to the Liverpool squad being the time he spent with the first team during the 2009 pre-season tour. In hindsight, I can understand why this didn't work. Young players come, young players go, with as much impact as a feather hitting a moving train. But if San Jose had stuck it out for just another year with the Reds, gaps in the squad would have been opening up for the lad to potentially break into, with Sami Hyypiä leaving and the only real competition at right back being Glenn Johnson and Martin Kelly, as well as the side containing players like Sotiris Kyrgios, Christian Pulisic and Danny Wilson, who were all dropped sooner rather than later. So maybe he could have worked his way into the difficult transition period, but again, it's easy to say with the benefit of hindsight. Number 4, Luis Alberto. Luis Alberto is one of the best examples of someone leaving and going and doing better. The fact that we had him in our grasp and let him go is one of the biggest errors made by both Brendan Rodgers and, yes, even Jurgen Klopp. Now, in all fairness to the two, Alberto was a tried and quite frankly failed experiment at Liverpool, with his biggest achievement being the assist against Tottenham Hotspur during the 5-0 battering of the side in 2013-14. But at that point, the first team basically picked itself, so anyone sitting on the bench like Victor Moses, Joe Allen and, yes, Alberto were always going to struggle. But once Suarez had left and injuries both on the pitch and to our transfer department's reputation were occurring, there was absolutely a place for Alberto in the team to provide competition for the newly signed Adam Lallana and maybe even Coutinho, who hadn't quite found his best form for the Reds yet. Instead, he was sent on loan to Malaga at the start of the season before being sold to Lazio on deadline day of the 2016 summer window. Number 3, Ben Doak. I mean, this one hurts even more now. So at the time of writing, Mohamed Salah is pretty much out of form at the moment. He's had a few good flashes, but not exactly to the levels that we saw last season. So it seems as though perhaps selling Ben Doak last summer maybe wasn't the best decision, given the fact that his time at Bournemouth isn't going the way he hoped it would, having made just 4 runouts for the Cherries at this moment in time. The lad is lightning fast, always looking to play off the last man, but is also capable of coming deep to progress play on the ball as well. So having him in and around the squad right now, when we have a startling lack of depth on both wings, would have been a massive bonus for us. And honestly, there was no reason to sell him. Yes, we needed to recoup money given the fact that we spent £500 million in the summer, but Doak had time. Loan him out again if you absolutely need to and see where Salah is at in the summer of 2026 before making any rash decisions. Poor planning and someone who deserved more game time for Liverpool, for me personally. Number 2, Nicolas Anelka. It may be a cheat, I know, saying a lone player deserved more time at the club, but he did though, lads. He did. Look, I'm not daft. I understand tensions were high between Houllier and Anelka circa the early 2000s, following their joint experience with the France under-20s a few years earlier, but Anelka was class during his 6-month spell at the Reds, scoring a few crucial goals and putting on a dazzling one-man performance against Newcastle in March of 2002. So the fact that the manager at the time couldn't do what was best for the team and sign Anelka on a permanent deal, instead bringing in the notorious El Hadji D, is one of the biggest drop balls in Liverpool's Premier League history. And number 1, Robbie Keane. You heard me. Now, as much as we like to poke fun around here and say that Robbie Keane, the man we signed from Tottenham for £19 million before selling him back to them at the cutthroat price of £12 million just 6 months later, was an almighty mistake for Liverpool, I don't necessarily think that's his fault. The man was best when he was playing through the middle of the attack, but because of the undroppable Fernando Torres, who was going through his best spell arguably in a Liverpool shirt, Keane kept getting pushed out to the wing in an effort to just cram him into the starting lineup, which is like asking for a roast dinner but covering it in custard because you really like chocolate sponge cake. Yes, Keane was too big a signing to keep on the bench, but Torres was starting to pick up injuries regularly at this time due to his backup being David Ngog, which meant he kept getting rushed back into the squad and getting injured again, a la Daniel Sturridge a few years later. Keane was rapid, a calm finisher, and versatile up top, so if Benitez had just used him in his natural position and played to his strengths, then who knows what might have happened. But I doubt we wouldn't have lost him after a few months, with his value decreasing on an average of 1.2 million per month like it did.